players. Okay, so things we're looking for. Number one is portion size. Right, a very, very simple tip, right? Most people have two types of plate in the cupboard. They have a dinner plate, right? And they have a side plate. Side plate is usually about as big as your hand, right? And I would say when customers come to Herbalife, 90% of them are overeating. Okay, their portion is way too big, 90% on their evening meal, right? And one of the first things I get them to do is to swap their dinner plate for a side plate. And I say, listen, if after finishing your side plate and side plate size of food and having a large glass of water, you're still hungry, wait 2 minutes. And if you're still hungry, okay, have another little bit on your side plate, right? What most people do, because they're conditioned to do it over years, right? Dinner plates for dinner, right? So that they fill the plate up. Right, particularly couples, by the way, they just sit down with the same size plate, male and female, different calorie requirements, different protein requirements, different fuel requirements. They sit down and eat the same plate of food, and the smaller one wonders why they're getting bigger. Right? They're just putting the same amount of fuel in as the bigger person, right? So first is portion control, right? If you're gonna, by the way, you can use a dinner plate. I'm just let's be focused on how much we put on it, right? Secondly, the balance and the makeup of that plate. Okay, we want to be focused on something called 40-30-30. This is for all of your nutrition, but it comes down to your plate as well, where the calories on your plate should be made up 40% from the protein, 30% from the carbohydrates, right? I'm going to talk about carbohydrates in a minute, and 30% from healthy fats. The most simple way I've seen of this being explained, because people go, yeah, but how much is a percentage, and do I need to know how many grams and stuff? Listen, that level of getting into how much grams of protein and all the rest of it, we can get into that if we need to. I don't think, with most people, I never get into that, right? That's kind of a trick or a tool down the road if they're just not getting results, and then I get into grams, right? But for your dinners, for these 10 days, here's what I'm looking for. I would like the protein on the plate to be the same size as the palm of your hand, right? Why does this work really well? Because if you're a bigger person, you have a bigger palm, and if you're a smaller person, you have a smaller palm, right? Men tend to have bigger palms, and guess what? They need more protein. So your protein should be about the size of your palm, right? So if you're having chicken, and I know chicken breasts aren't that shape, but you know what I mean, right? So whatever it is, right? Your protein should be about the size of your palm. Your protein, have you ever heard the philosophy of the less legs the protein has, the leaner it is, the better it is for you, right? So ideally, we want more fish, more protein from fish. Why? Because fish don't have any legs. And fish protein tends to be the leanest, particularly if you kind of grill it, or poach it, and also fish protein has those, more often than not, has healthy fats in there as well, so that covers the fat requirement from fish as well. Okay, so next after fish, you get your kind of chicken and your turkey. Why chicken and turkey? Because they have 2 legs, right? Chicken and turkey is leaner than pork and beef, right? Pork and beef, cows and pigs, 4 legs, right? So the less legs an animal has, the leaner it is. And of course, if you're veggie or vegan, you know what you should be having when it comes down to protein. But it's the same thing. We want that amount of protein on the plate. It's quite a lot, right? 40% of your plate should be protein. The next thing that goes on your plate is your carbohydrates. The big mistake that people make with carbohydrates, when they think carbohydrates, they think bread and pasta and potatoes, right? And for me personally, right, and by the way, do we eat bread, pasta and potatoes? Of course we do, right? They're not bad things, but they can't make up the majority of your dinners each night if you're on a fat loss plan. So when it comes to carbohydrates, the amount of carbohydrates should be a fistful, that amount, right? And the more of your carbohydrates that come from colourful vegetables, the better. Okay, again, I know, right? You guys know this, but let me get it out of me and into you just for my own sanity. Your broccolis and your carrots and your sweet corns and right? colourful vegetables, they're all carbohydrates. They all tend to be high in fibre as well. They count as much as carbohydrates as potatoes and pasta do, right? So you can get away with having this size portion of protein, lean protein on your plate, and that much of broccoli, carrots, blah, 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 blah on your plate, and you don't need to put any pasta or potato on there at all, right? For a lot of customers, right? That, just getting their head around that at all is really difficult, right? They struggle with the fact that, but I always have potato or pasta or mash or something or this or whatever on my plate. And by the way, if you want a little bit of white or brown carbs on there, go for it, but you don't need it, right? And then last but not least, the other 30% comes, or 30% of your calories comes from your fats. A little bit of olive oil, a little bit of avocado, a little bit of, look up where healthy fats come from. That's not my job. And they can be added to your plate as well. They can be added to your snacks as well. But in general, right, you can look at a plate of food and in a second, you can judge just how good it is. Sauces, and anything above and beyond lean protein, colourful carbohydrates, vegetables, and a little bit of healthy fats, anything beyond that, then you're really putting stuff on there that you don't need, right? Sauces, condiments. If you spice your food right, you shouldn't need sauces and condiments, right? I love a few chili flakes, salt and pepper, good enough for me. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for portion, I'm looking for colour, I'm looking for lean protein, and we'll go from there, right, guys? If you have any questions, please post below. Some of you might want to adjust your meals that are coming up, because I'm going to be quite strong on the fact I want to see everyone's main meal